It's like Carrie meets Star Wars meets Ace Ventura 2. Hello, and welcome to another movie review and rating by me. I don't know why I said in that voice. Please ignore that. Let's get started. I'm going to break this review up into 3 parts. First part is going to be my review, which will have no spoilers. Second part, I'm going to talk about The Revenant. Second part, we're going to talk about The Revenant. And I'm going to talk about how it relates to Hugh Glass, the actual person, so I'm going to tell you. And third, spoilers, and I'm going to talk about the movie. First off, my rating and just overall look at it without telling you anything too much to give it away. I mean, there's nothing to give away. The trailer shows you a ton of what it's about. You know what's going to happen. This movie was shot so well, you would have think it was directed by Steph Curry. Steph Curry would have shot, but seriously, this was one of the most beautifully shot films I mean, it's just beautiful. And the whole time I was thinking, I just want to run around through there and throw rocks at stuff. Beautifully shot. DP, director of photography, should get a raise. He's definitely stacked because he'll get any job he wants because it was super beautiful. Just shot so well. Locations were perfect. I've heard some people complain about the story. There just wasn't much to it. But then again, you're telling the story of a dude who had an amazing story, and it's pretty close to true story. I mean, it's got a couple things thrown in, but you don't want to fabricate the story too much, more than you already have. I thought the story was good for what the movie was. I knew going into it I wasn't watching Inception, although we'll talk about that later. So my overall review, I would say it was probably a 9. Okay, so the weakness of the story was brought up by how beautifully it was shot. And so I put it like right at a 90. I'd probably say 89. Was my gut instinct, but I'll go with 90. So now I'm going to talk about Hugh Glass. The story is about Hugh Glass. This will give away some of it, so if you want to cut off just to make sure you can, I'm going to tell you as much as I can about the real Hugh Glass. This story is based on a story from the early 1800s, which took place in 1823 in South Dakota, and it's about a man named Hugh Glass. Hugh Glass was a frontiersman. He was around the age of 40 when it went down. Him and about 79 other guys were out like getting furs because it's the old fur trapping area. They were out there, and Hugh Glass got attacked by a bear, and the bear cut him up pretty good, and he was left behind with 2 guys, Fitzgerald and Bridger. A young guy named Bridger, who actually became a famous mountain man himself. Then those 2 dudes stayed back so other people could loop around and come back and pick him up. Well, they sat there waiting for him to die. They were afraid the Indians were going to get him, so they jetted. So some of that's similar. He did not have a son in real life like he does in the movie, just kind of some added, I won't say that for the spoiler. Then after they jetted, the real Hugh Glass, there's been stories that either like he crawled on his hands and knees because he had like a broken leg. I would have hopped in there like a little bunny foo-foo and then bopped him on the head, but he decided to crawl is what they said. They said he laid by a stream for 10 days and drank water until he got his strength, and then he could like crawl, dozens if not hundreds of miles to get his revenge. It's an incredible story irregardless. Anyways, he got to the people. He didn't actually kill either of them because he forgave Bridger because he's a young dude, and then Fitzgerald, he had joined the army, so he didn't want to kill him because then he'd be executed for killing somebody in the army. And then he just pretty much roamed around telling his story and bragging about what he did. I brag about one time when I caught an orange barehanded. Yeah, it was pretty impressive. Saved the dude's, it wouldn't have killed him, but it would have hit him in the face. So yeah, if I'd have crawled that many miles after a bear attack, I would be bragging about it too, so I don't blame him. Last part. This is the part where I'm going to tell you my just thorough review of the movie. I feel like the whole movie can be summed up in one of the early opening lines, which a lot of movies will do. They'll throw in something that kind of lays out the entire story. Leonardo DiCaprio's character says, and I believe to his son, "As long as you have breath, fight." And that's pretty much what he did. That entire movie was him struggling to stay alive to get revenge on the man who killed his son. That was his motive. That was the driving force. That's what kept him alive. He was on the way out until that happened. And then he had something to live for, and he did not care what happened. This movie had, in my opinion, which is correct, 2 of the greatest actors of our time, Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hardy. They are phenomenal actors. They were also in a movie together you may have heard of called Inception. They were in Inception together, and this had some parallels with it, not on purpose, it just happened. Think of Tom Hardy's like brain part of Inception. They're in the snow. A ton of this movie happens in the snow. The final battle scene happens in the snow. I'm just saying, Christopher Nolan, you could have just stepped over and helped the dude out and just been like, yo, bro, I already wrote this. There was just no bear. The locations they filmed at this thing were so beautiful. If I was out there, I would have grammed that. Hashtag grammed that. Hashtag VSCO cam. Yo, Leo, I know you just got bit that bear. Just hold up one sec. I got to get my filter. Hold on, you got to touch it so it focuses. Yo. This also had the best human versus bear fight scene since The Fox and the Hound. If you don't like action, get out of this movie, Sylvester Stallone. Go watch a rom-com. Rom-com. I don't know why I said that like that. You know, people gripe about the story, but I like that there's not a lot of unnecessary talking. Like, I don't like it when they lay out the story instead of letting you just kind of fill in the gaps. It's like a sidewalk that you can walk on your own, and you know, you can walk across the stones as opposed to filling in all the gaps with Play-Doh that look cheap and annoying. Like whenever somebody shows up somewhere, they're like, oh, I'm glad you're here because I was wanting to hurt you for what you did to my son. Do you remember when that happened? And then they show a flashback to it. No, this movie's made a little more artistically, and I like that. I like that. Get the light, get the light. I like that. Do you like the part whenever like he had been buried and he's like laying in the dirt and then that hand? It was like Shredder and Ninja Turtles, you know, whenever he's like, and you just knew he's about to go ham on some boys in the streets. That wasn't intimidating. I don't know why I said that. So obviously Tom Hardy's gonna make them grunting noises like he does in every movie, like, man, boy, arg, gurg. Knock, knock. Who's there? Interrupting pirate. Arg. No. Also, I'd like to point out, Leonardo DiCaprio at one point left a fire burning. I would have paid money during this very serious, just quiet, solemn part of the movie when he leaves that fire. Smokey the Bear pops up and goes, only you can prevent forest fires. How dope would that have been? Like, that would have been funny. Like, but it's not a Wayans Brothers movie, so we can't do that. So we'll just have to wait like 6 months until they actually make fun of this. Thank you, Marlon Wayans. Also, did you notice there's a whole lot of eating raw meat in this movie? This is an opportunity for every dad watching this to make a dad at a steakhouse joke to the waiter. Oh, and it's so rare that I can ask it its name. No, they're straight up eating fish out of the creek. They're not even stepping out of the water before they go corner the cob on that fool. Oh my goodness! And then the part where he like does the Luke Skywalker like cuts open the horse and like sleeps in it. Seriously, it's like Ace Ventura 2 up in there, like, you know, when he comes out. Gosh, that just made me like. I mean, I was kind of cozy, but also kind of disgusted. So I don't know how to be right there. A Kerry horse burrito, like just tucking it in, just bringing some like onions and cilantro, and then you're good to go. And then at the end, they left you like he's crawling up that mountain and he sees his wife. It's like, did he die? Inception. Nolan already did that. It's Inception. Seriously, they leave you hanging with it. My thought, yeah, he probably goes because literally he has nothing else to live for except getting revenge. He got it. Go. Now, I would have preferred that he got back and told him, hey, yo, Bridger's cool, because the only person I told that he was cool is the dude that already died. So the 2 people that knew Bridger was cool, 3, including, you know, Fitzgerald, the 3 people that knew Bridger was good and not like a terrible person are now dead. Bridger can't go on to be the mountain man in the sequel, Revenant 2, the money maker if the first one made money. If you walk away with anything, the number one thing this movie taught us as a people, traveling sucked before GPS. Siri, Holiday Inn Express near me.
Okay, check it out. It is I who should be thanking you. Please subscribe to this channel if you get a chance. That would be dope, and I hope you have a lovely day. Love, Tyler.
Please subscribe.
That may be beyond my abilities at the moment.